I'm gonna start burning myself with candle wax so that I don't fall asleep. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zwa and today I will be doing a review and discussion on The Poppy War by R.F Kuang. The Poppy War is a 2018 grimdark war fantasy story that is heavily inspired by the 20th century wars that happened in China and is set in a world that is inspired by the Song Dynasty. So what is this book about? So it's set in a world in which there are two empires, the Nikara Empire, which is where our main character Rin is from, and across the sea is the Federation of Mugen Empire, the empire that the Nikara Empire is warring against. So 20 years before the events of this book, there was the devastating and horrifying Second Poppy War that was fought between these two empires, and after a dash of genocide, the two sides basically reached a Cold War-like stalemate. Neither side really won the war, and for 20 years there was rumors and tensions building up, rumors about another third Poppy War that was fast approaching. So the book starts with Rin, our main character. She is an orphan living in a impoverished town, village, and she is taking a difficult but prestigious test to enter the best military school of her country, which is at the synagogue, which is the capital city. And obviously she passes the exam with flying colors. She's placed top in her province, and she's then shipped off to the synagogue, where she learns how to be a soldier, learns about martial arts and strategy and the history of her country. But she also learns that she has the very rare ability to enter the pantheon or realm of the gods, to summon a god and to allow a god to take control over her and use the abilities of a god. So she then embarks to learn and harness her abilities with her master. About a third way through the book, the third Poppy War begins, and from that point onwards it follows Rin struggling and wondering whether she should use her powers, whether she should allow the vengeful and powerful Phoenix God to take over her, while her entire country is being devastated by the ongoing war. I had a lot of fun reading The Poppy War, I'm not gonna lie. I rated it 4.5 out of 5 on Goodreads, but I'm gonna give it a rating of 4 out of 5. I did have some issues with it, which I will discuss. This review is mainly going to be non-spoilery, and if there are some spoilery things, they're not that massive. I don't think they'll really affect or hinder your enjoyment of the story, but for the most part this is going to be a non-spoiler review. So the first act mainly follows the world building, helping us get immersed into this world. We focus so much on the history of the Nikara Empire, why these two empires are at war with each other, why there are 12 provinces, how did the 12 provinces in the Nikara Empire come to be, what happened to Spear, which is the small island that basically, that's where all the genocide happened. So why was there so much chaos 20 years ago? What are these gods? It's introducing us, and there's a lot of explanation that happens, a lot of technicalities that are introduced. And the first part doesn't really read like a story. It didn't feel like a story to me. It felt like a historical account of events. Even the pacing in the first act wasn't to my liking. We don't move seamlessly from event to event. Things almost feel a little bit stilted at times. As you read through the book in the first act, it almost feels as though, Rebecca's going, this is what happened, then this, then that, then this, then that, then that. It honestly felt like I was reading a history textbook through the eyes of the protagonist, which is fine, but it just didn't feel like I was reading a story, and like it was really difficult for me to get into it. But once I got through the first act and once the war started, it's kind of scary how it feels like I'm reading a completely different book. It is so impeccably excellent from the second act onwards. From the second act, the characterization, the characters develop so many more layers. From the second act, even the explanation of, strategies and technicalities of war are so well done, and it's so seamless how, Rebecca, interweaved all of those explanations and expanded the world from the second part onwards. There's so many more complexities. The themes of war that are explored from the second act onwards is done so well. The pacing is brilliant. It's so good from the second act onwards. It's scary how good the book becomes after the second act. I think in retrospect, it makes sense as to why the first act is the way that it is, because we really need to familiarize ourselves with so much that's happening in the world and all of the history and everything that happened. But I didn't enjoy the journey to get to the point that I needed to get to. Another thing that I liked about the Poppy War was how the themes of war was explored. From a lot of books that I've read that explore themes of war, it's more the psychological effects that war has on our characters. Whereas in the Poppy War, I think I appreciated how Rebecca sort of decided to go for a more what are the geopolitical effects of war. And I mean, we did touch on the psychological effects of war through the eyes of our main character, our protagonist Rin. But I really appreciated how she's like, hey, let's look at how war affects countries. Another thing that she explored was, what does it mean for the people who are the good guys to do the same acts that the bad guys are doing. So that was also a really interesting thing. The ending, the last chapter is, I can't even explain. I was destroyed when I got to the last chapter, because so much happened in the last chapter that I literally, when I finished the book, I closed the book, I put it next to me, and I just stared into space, because I was like, oh my gosh, that really happened. That really happened. So good. Our main character Rin, she's cool. In the beginning, I didn't particularly latch onto her. I felt like she didn't have that many flaws. Rin is powerful, not in the sense that she can literally summon a god, but she's a girl who's I want that, and I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it perfectly. When she's studying for the exam, she literally burns herself with candle wax so that she doesn't fall asleep, because she's an orphan, she doesn't have money, and so she's struggling to learn all the content that she needs to learn for the exam, and she's I can't fall asleep, I need to stay awake, the exam is in a month, I'm gonna start burning myself with candle wax so that I don't fall asleep. Girl goes through it, but she's I'm gonna fucking do it. There's no way that I'm not going to do this, there's no way that I'm not gonna achieve this. It's okay girl, I got it, yes girl, oh my god, yes, I support. But it almost was okay, she's just perfect. But then when the war starts, start exploring her fears and her flaws and her complexities expand, and we go deeper into her character, into her psyche. I think how the character leaped off the page as you kept on reading was really well done. Another character that I didn't really like was Neza. Neza is a fellow student to Rin at the Synagogue military school. He is the son of a chief or warlord of a very top province in the empire, and he is a spoilt pain in the asshole. I hated everything about him. He's a classist. Rin is also a dark-skinned girl from the very poor township that she's from. So not only is Neza a classist, but he's also colorist. So I was okay, so he's straight up an asshole. When the war begins, there's a scene in which Rin and Neza have to fight together against the enemy. And it's okay, yes, they're fighting together, cool. Then Neza gets injured, and then he's gone for like 3 months, like for like a long period of the story. He's gone, and he comes back, and you know, he's like not classist anymore, he's not a misogynist, he's not colorist. Like, he goes to Rin and he's like, girl, I was such a terrible person, I was such an asshole, I'm so sorry, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, I get it, I was like a terrible person, I was a terrible man, you know, 3 months ago, but I'm better now. And I was like, okay, that's fine, you know, like, people can change, I get it. But I didn't see that. I didn't see that arc. I didn't see the journey that you took to realize how much of a shitty person that you were. Like, if you watch like Avatar: The Last Airbender, you see Zuko progress through 3 seasons, and like, you see his redemption arc, his journey. And when you get to the point where he goes to his dad and he's like, go to hell, you piece of shit, I fucking hate you, you're like, oh yes, it's so much more satisfying. Whereas here, it's like, okay, that's fine, like, you know, that's cool, but I didn't see you do the heavy work of realizing that you were a terrible person. And yes, I can see that, you know, you're apologizing and you like, you know, you cool, I see it, but I didn't see you take that journey. I feel like Neza's journey, or like the feelings that I was supposed to have for him, was like, okay, I don't want to feel, I know what you're trying to make me feel, dude, but I don't want to feel for you, I don't care about you, because I didn't see you do the heavy work of like realizing why you were a shitty person, and I didn't see that character growth. So yeah, like, that's what I liked, that's what I didn't like about the story, about the Poppy War. Really good characterization, really good themes being explored, really brilliant world building, good pacing and writing, all of that from the second act. Like, the first act, the pacing and the writing, I had a bit of a problem with it, which is what hindered me to like really dive into the story initially. But once the war started, once the devastation started, once the killing, the murder, and the genocide started, I was like, we're getting somewhere. This is hot. This is fucking good. So yeah, that is my review on the Poppy War. I am really excited to read the second book in the trilogy, The Dragon Republic. I am interested to see where our characters go from this point onwards, after the devastating ending. I obviously can't tell you how the book ends, but it is devastating. I was distraught. So I can't wait to read The Dragon Republic. I feel like I am going to buy a physical copy of The Dragon Republic. I don't mind reading off my phone anymore, but The Dragon Republic is about 600 pages. There's no way in hell that I'm reading 600 pages off my phone. Abso-fucking-lutely not. So I'm probably gonna get a physical copy, so better save up money for that. I am about 200 pages away from finishing The Quiet Violence of Dreams, so maybe that might be my next review. I don't know, we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!